Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is okay and all rejuvenated for today's session. So I welcome you all on board Employability and Soft Skill Program, Day 7. So today, as you all know that we have a little bit of difference in a session. Our speaker for today is Mr. Saeed Bhai. He would be taking a session today. So Shensha Bhai, are we going to start or do we have to wait?
Let's wait for another 5 minutes once all the participants joins because it's still 6:59 here. So we have 1 minute left and we'll give 5 additional minutes.
Till then, I'll just let you all introduce to our speaker, Saeed Bhai, who is a Director of Technology at Swift E-Learning Services. And he's also partnering with us for these live online training that we are going through for Employability and Soft Skill Program. Today he's going to cover a topic which is how to write an effective resume and essentials of interview. So as we all know that because of this COVID-19 situation, there may be a lot of people who must have lost their jobs. There may be a lot of people who would be looking out for new opportunities. So this session is very beneficial for mostly them, but this session is also helpful for every person who would love to attend this, because it will help them to groom themselves for future when they have to face any kind of interviews in future.
Yeah, so we'll give 5 minutes, Saeed Bhai, before we start. So maybe I would suggest, like, if you can quickly address some of the queries related to LMS, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that. And moreover, from the last sessions, we have already uploaded the emotional intelligence module on the LMS. And so those who have not accessed, the LMS yet, please feel free to, sign up, and then you can, now there are 3 courses. One is the stress management, the other one is the time management, and the third one, the one what we uploaded today, is the emotional intelligence. So that has got 10 questions, and there is an assessment at the end of that emotional intelligence course. So take that course and then get the assessment done. And yeah, I think people are taking the time management and the stress management course very seriously, because I see a lot of enrollments happening yesterday as well. And those who have not taken the course, okay, please get enrolled. And maybe Shahzad Bhai, if you can paste the sign up link in the chat box, please, if possible.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please do that. And then if you're new to this LMS, or for people who have joined in for the first time here, okay, please make sure that you are using the sign up link in order to access the course material from there onwards. Also, we have uploaded the recording, day-wise recording sessions, I think right from day 1 to day 4. So day 5, day 6, and day 7, that is today, that will upload either tonight or inshallah by tomorrow morning. So if you have missed any of these lectures in the last week, just again, in the LMS, you can find the links out there for you to access the day-wise recordings as well. And a few queries that have come through email and yesterday, in the chat box as well, that people are thinking that the marking of the question, the course as complete, will happen once they complete the assessment, and that is not the case. You will be able to complete the assessment, and then you should be able to take the other course materials also. Only then your course will be marked as complete. But having said that, your certification course, meaning your certificate, will be available just if you complete your assessment as well. Okay, you might not have the time to go through the recordings or go through the entire course material again. We understand that. So, if you just take the assessment, that is fine for your certification. And 80% of your score should be there in your assessment. Only then, you would be able to, get the certificate at the end of the webinar. That is like after a few days, meaning once the webinar is complete. Yeah. And yes, I'm seeing a few questions here that, received an email that I can't be able to attend the webinar today. What is the reason behind it? You should be able to sign up in Zoom. So Hisham, So I think that should be fine for you now. You can join the webinar now. Yeah, so shall we wait for some more time or shall we start?
Saeed Bhai, I think we can go ahead and start. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shansha Bhai, and thank you one and all for joining this day 7 of the webinar. So a little bit about myself. I am Mohammad Abdul Saeed and I am the Director Technology at Swift E-Learning Services. And I've got, alhamdulillah, about 17 years of project experience in my career. And with that, banking upon that experience, so today I'm going to talk about two different and very, very important topics. One is about, the resume writing. How do you write an effective resume? The other one is about, the essentials of interview. Because being into, this employer prism, we always see that there is a lot of confusion and chaos among the employees or people who apply for a job. So when they come towards us, with a resume in their hand, or when they come to attend the interviews, we find that, though they are technically sound, though they have subject knowledge, but when it comes to their presentation skills, that is where they lack. So we feel that, often, we hear this complaint that employers are not calling the prospects, okay, and they are not calling them for the second round, though they think that they performed well, yeah, and then they feel that the resume is good enough for a call, but somehow, the employer is not calling them. So, there are a lot of reasons why, employers don't call you for the second time. So in this session, okay, we are going to, touch upon the fact, then how do you write an effective resume and how do you make sure that you attend a good interview? Yeah. So I'll share my screen right away here. So I hope that you're able to, see my screen. Yeah, I think, can you enable the screen access, Shansha bhai, if you are online?
I think you should already have access, but let me quickly check.
Saeed, you can check now.
Yeah, it's okay now. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope you're able to see the screen now. Okay, so here, this is basically going to be I'm going to talk about the e-learning courses that we have on, the resume writing. So we need to understand, first of all, you have to understand, how important is a resume for you. Please understand that your resume is the first thing that arrives before you in front of the employer. You come later, okay? It is a resume that comes first. So it is very important that, your resume should have all the elements, okay? And it should be appealing for the employer so that they get an understanding about who you are before you come and see them. So in this e-learning course here, we will basically talk about the various elements that are involved, okay, in about, how do you actually access this e-learning course and what are the different, elements for your resume to be called as an effective resume, and what are the different types of a resume that you have. So whatever questions you have, please feel free to ask in the Q&A box that I'll be able to answer, at the end of the session. Now, what are the different key elements of an effective resume? So there are few very visible elements that you need to have for your resume to be called as an effective resume. So these are the different elements. First thing is a header. So your header should basically have your name and a contact information. In that, your name should be very, visible again, and it should not be like, too small, mentioned in a very, very small manner. It should be prominently highlighted, and also the contact information. And that contact information should basically be your email and your contact number. And don't write, lengthy addresses in your email. So I'll show you an effective resume, okay, as we move along. But quickly that, your name and contact information should be very, very precise. And then the next comes the professional and the summary statement. I'll tell you why is this important. Often we have seen that when people come with their resumes to us, the first and foremost thing that we as an employer look forward is the summary statement. And very, very sorry to say that most of the summary statements are copy paste. They are literally copy paste that, you know, I might have reviewed thousands of resumes in my career. And I would say that, you know, at least 30% of them, okay, at least in my experience, are copy paste. So please, you know, try to avoid that. So let's not have, I'll show you exactly how do you write a professional summary statement. So that's basically very, very simple idea. So what you have to do is take a pen and paper, okay, and then just write what comes to your mind about yourself. If you are applying for a job, so make sure that why do you think you are fit enough for this job? That should be a professional summary statement, not beyond that. Don't just write that, you know, very, very, you know, heavy adjectives which says that, you know, to achieve something in life, I'm here, you know, to go on space. So don't try to have, you know, such rocket science objectives. Your summary statement should be precise enough to explain what you are applying for. And then your education. Your education should again highlight your most recent education. That should come first. Okay, then for example, if you are a master's student, highlight your master's, then bachelor's, and then comes your, you know, your intermediate and your schools as well. And then your activities and interests. This is very important because this will help the employer understand, okay, how important are you as a team leader? And then your skills, your technical skills too, and then your work experience. Your work experience, yes, as a fresher, you might not have a work experience. So initially, but then, you know, as you move along, we call it as a functional resume, your work experience will matter. But for a fresher, this is good enough. Your header, professional statement, education, your leadership, and then the skills. Yeah. Now, let's talk about the different types of resumes that are available. So when you get a call, so you have to, you know, some people, you know, the employers, they ask for a specific kind of resume. You might not have noticed in your emails, but they might ask, send your chronological resume. Or they might ask, send your functional resume. Okay, and if they say, send your resume, that means they're looking out for a combinational resume. So we'll see what are the different types of resumes here. So chronological resumes first. This is basically, as I said, your most recent education or work history will come first in the reverse chronological order. That is, as I said, first it should be about your master's if you have finished your master's degree, and then your intermediate, your bachelor's, then your intermediate, then your schooling. So that should be in the reverse chronological order. Why? Because most of the employers, they make sure that, you know, they quickly get to the point about your degree. Yeah. And then this is ideal to job seekers as well, because your work history should define your, you know, degree as well. Yeah. And then why it is important you highlight your chronological resume, because you might not have your professional experience initially. So your educational, background is the only thing that you highlight. So one thing you have to understand here, that resume for for a fresher who doesn't have a work experience at all. So for people like that, your educational degree is the only thing that you have in your hand to project in your resume. You come with a clean slate, no doubt about that. Employees are not going to judge you based on your professional skills, that we understand. But at least your educational degree is the only thing that you have in your hand, and that needs to be highlighted in a very, very efficient manner. So that is about the chronological resume. Now let's talk about the functional resume. Functional resume basically focuses more on the skills and abilities, okay, of your job requirement. So that should be defined in a very non-linear format. What do you mean by that? Non-linear format? That means you should basically talk about your skills and abilities in a more proficient manner. Like, for example, you should actually talk about, if you are a developer, software developer, so you can actually talk about your development skills, saying that you're good at programming, you're good at database skills, okay, and you're good at debugging. So these are, your skills and abilities that define, your functional resumes as well. Yeah. So basically, functional resume will also contain a chronological resume, but first thing is you have to define your functional skills, and then your educational skills will come into picture. The last is the combinational resume. So combination is again a mix of chronological and functional. So basically, it starts by listing your skills and experience, okay, and then your employment history, if any. Okay, for a fresher, that is not required. Okay, and then it features chronological and functional resumes as well. So this is about the combination of functional and chronological order. So when you get an email or when you get a call from your employer, from your prospect, so understand what they're looking for. If they've asked for chronological resume, so just make sure that you're defining the chronological, your skills in chronological manner. If it is functional resume, so again, you might have to just highlight your skills. Yeah, moving on. Now let's review an additional, resume which is very ideal. So I've taken the example of Mr. Steve here. Okay, he's applying for a job. So let's see, okay, how in fact his resume will actually look like. So based on whatever you have discussed till now, okay, so that resume will be shown here. Yeah, this is an ideal resume if you actually look like. Okay, if you see here, the name is highlighted, and then you have the summary statement here. Okay, and then the phone number followed by an email, and then your LinkedIn URL. Yes, I'll talk about a little bit about the email. Okay, so why is your email important? Okay, why is your email important? Your email will convey most of your requirement. Okay, and I would always recommend, and in fact when I talk to people who come down to interview at my end, I always tell them that you should always have an email related to your degree. Okay, say for example, I have somebody called as Ahmed, and Ahmed has done his BTech. So try to have your degree, your email as ahmed.btech@gmail.com. Okay, or if you are applying for a digital marketing, so just have as digital marketing or dm@gmail.com. Or if you are applying for a teacher job, okay, just have ahmed.teacher@gmail.com. So that is how you should have your email IDs like. But unfortunately, when people come down, when they present their CVs, or when I get their CVs are more like so-and-so.007 @gmail.com, or at 040307. So some typical and very what do you say, interesting, I would say, that that Gmail IDs come. When I get at gmail.com, okay, at 007 @gmail.com. So what does this mean, 007? So we are not here to recruit James Bond, unless you are applying for the position of a James Bond. You can happily have steve.007 @gmail.com. But for those of you who are for those of you who are listening, please make sure that you are creating your email IDs today itself, okay, linked to your degree. That's very important. Yeah. So this is what I was saying, that you need to make sure that you are, in fact, you are creating your email IDs, and also your your professional statements. Your statements are also very clear in what you're going to highlight. Okay, so let me just quickly go back to where we had in fact stopped. Okay, so all the 7 resumes that we have taken, a well-crafted resume that we are actually looking at. So well-crafted resume reflects who you are and why you're applying. So these are the 4 different steps that you need to understand. Tailor your resume for every role. This is important. Why? Because your role should basically fit, okay, meaning your resume should fit for each for each role that you're applying. You might be applying for a developer job, that could be a software developer. You might be applying for a call center assistant. Okay, your resume should fit in for all these jobs. And keep your personal statement focused. Your personal statement, as I said, defines everything. So that should be defining, that should be, very focused. Yeah. So let's see about, your tailoring your resume to the job description. So you have to customize your resume to the job description in such a way that it should reflect your job requirement. Okay. Try to have, very important keywords in your resume. So those keywords should basically include, again, what kind of job you're applying for. Okay, if you're applying for a software development, try to have the keywords about software in it. Okay, don't just try to have a random sentence, as I said, saying that you are here to create a car and a niche in the industry. Okay, so try to avoid very high adjectives. So just make sure that you're reviewing the positions in your keywords as well. Ensure that the job title matches. This is very important. I'll tell you why. More often than not, what we have seen is, you're applying for, a particular job. Okay. But when it comes to your resume is not talking about it at all. So that job title has to be there. So that is what the customizing of your resume means. And check the LinkedIn profiles. Yes. For example, okay, if you are a fresher or if you are a 1 or 2 years of experienced guys, say again in software development or digital marketing. So check on LinkedIn similar job profiles, get their job profiles, see how they have defined, how they have framed, and try to mimic their functionality as well in that. Okay, because they are well experienced, they know what they have to write in the resume. So those kind of resumes are available on LinkedIn. So just click. I mean, when you go to LinkedIn, when you type in 1 or 2 years of experience of digital marketing guys, okay, you will see a lot of profiles coming up. Okay, pick up random few profiles, and then you will be able to see that those profiles are there, and then you can see the keywords from there and use the keywords from there. Yeah. So this is about it. And as I said, keep your personal statement focused. So keep your personal statement focused. Again, your personal statement should clearly define who you are and what are your skills and qualifications and how they can benefit the company. That is more important. So I'll come to that in the interviews, in the essentials of interview. But in your resume, when you go for an interview, make sure that you are visiting that company's website and you have to understand what is that company working for, what are their domain areas, okay, and include those keywords in your job profile as well. So as I said, when you are drafting the statement, customize it to the specific job position. Okay, use keywords and do not use the same objective for every job. I am repeatedly mentioning this because we have seen this, and this is a big turn off. When people, come with this attitude, when they have the same objective, copy paste objective that we call, we lose interest. Okay, so keep between 50 to 200 words is maximum. See here, this is an example. If I'm applying for a newspaper editor, okay, so it should be very precise. Campus newspaper editor and journalism grad seeking to join the team to expand experience through a metro community bid and feature writing. Now, if you see here, this objective, this personal statement very clearly talks about why your resume is with me. Okay, I know that, okay, you are into newspaper editing, okay, you are into journalism, and you're here to expand your experience. Now, look at the example below. This is very vague again. This talks about you're here to work for an organization that provides an environment to grow as a professional. This is very vague. See, I stopped reading it beyond as well, because for me, it is a big turnoff. Okay, I call it as a copy-paste personal statement. Don't have that. Okay, so make sure that take a pen and a paper and write, okay, why you are applying for this job. Okay, and you will see that though it might sound a bit weird, but if you put that on your CV, okay, I'm willing to bet that at least 8 out of 10 employers will definitely take a notice of it. Okay, I'm not exaggerating it. 8 on 10 employers, or probably more, if they see a unique personal statement in your CV, that's a big appeal. So please notice this when you are drafting your resume. And don't write big essay, keep between 50 to 200 words maximum. Okay, so now let's see, we have in fact seen tailoring of your resume. personal statement, and format and structure now. Okay, again, format and structure, the 7 elements that we talked about. Always make sure that your resume is organized. Okay, which is very important. Organized resume. Okay, logically organized resume are very attractive. Many advantages. They are easy to read for the employers. Okay, as an employer, we feel that yes, I'm reading a story which is well defined, and it that story is something which has got a start and an end. Yeah. So these are the different elements that we actually look at. Consistency. What is consistency here? So this consistency is the font size, okay, formatting issues. Make sure all the tabs, the fonts, the font sizes, everything is similar. Okay, usually when you copy paste from different places, the font changes. So make sure that the CV is formatted. And as I said, reverse chronological order. Again, you have to list your experiences in work or educational or volunteer in a reverse chronological order, so that your recent work is highlighted. Length of resume, yes, there is a big debate happening that people ask, what is the difference between a 1-page and a 2-page resume, or multiple 4 or 5 pages resume. Okay, 1 to 2 pages on an average is fine, but if you have more to convey, it's a functional resume. Yes, it can go beyond as well, but minimum 1 and maximum 2 for freshers. And heading should be in bold type. Again, as I said, it should be formatting so that the highlighting is clear. Font type, yes, font type, Times New Roman, okay, Georgia and Arial are the most preferred, the font types. And then do not use more than 2 font types. Okay, but I would still prefer 1. But if on your your headers, if you want to use more than 1, okay, you can go with a second font type. Okay, and the font size should be between 10 to 12 points. Why? Because on your mobile, if somebody is viewing your resume and if it has got some unsupported font, your content will not be visible. So that's why try to have it in Times New Roman only. Have appropriate margins as well. Yeah. Okay, on each side, yes, 1 inch margin on each side has to be there. Spelling and grammar, this is very important, guys. Spelling and grammar. Why spelling and grammar is important? Because again, spells and grammar, that's a big turn off for employers. Okay, make sure that you have a proper spell check which is being done, okay, on your CV. Okay, there are a lot of tools available. Grammarly is one of the tools that you can use to spell check. Or if you're using Word document, okay, Word has got an inbuilt document, spell check. So using that, you should be able to find out. Yeah, and use bullet points and white space wisely, which is very important. Okay, white space is important, yes, but in this process, don't try to take the CV to your second page. Usually, we have seen that when people have an urge to have more pages, so what they do is they give more and more white spaces in the resume. Not required. Okay, so just keep it very precise, and then make sure that you're just keeping points, white space, and then bulleted points should be used appropriate places only, at appropriate places. Don't try to use bullet points everywhere. And at the same time, if you want to convey a big achievement of yours, so please make sure that you're highlighting it in a bullet points and not in the form of a story. Yeah, so formatting and structure is very important again, as I said. So these are the 3 different steps, and the last one is avoiding common mistakes. This is very important. A resume can make or break your chances of getting a job. Okay, so let's see. Okay, what are the different common mistakes? Not proofreading your resume. Always make sure that once you have your resume ready, or once you're giving the resume to you're sending it to your employer prospect, make sure that you're proofreading it. I'll give you many examples. Okay, one such example is that when we get the CVs, okay, when they come to us, okay, the name of the candidate is something Ahmed, okay, but their father's name is some Subbarao. Okay, that's funny, but pathetic to know, because when they in fact get those CV, and when we point out, when I ask them, okay, what is your dad's name, and then he gives a different name altogether, but then I ask, on your CV the name is totally different, and then he scratches his head and then says, sorry, I just copied and pasted from one of my friend's resume. Okay, so that is happening because you're not proofreading your resume. So that's very important that you proofread your resume. Ignoring keywords again. Okay, I don't need to repeat it again about the keywords. I've already mentioned about it, that try to add more and more resumes. Yeah, this is about cluttered resume. Cluttered in the sense, don't try to have too much of data in your resume. Okay, if you're, as I said here, it should not go beyond 2 pages. Okay, unless you have like 5+ of years of experience and you want to expand more, then in that case it might go to multiple pages. I understand, but resume for a fresher, maximum 1 or 2 pages only. Inappropriate email IDs. This I've already mentioned. Okay, try to use just a very mature email IDs. Don't try to have very immature email IDs. Yeah, and then make sure that your resume is correct. Yes, do not lie or exaggerate. This is very important. Okay, more often than not, we have seen that they claim that they have completed a certification program, or they are experienced in technology called as SQL Server database. And then when I ask them any questions in the interview, they say that no, we don't know anything about SQL Server, but it is mentioned in the CV. That is again because they have again copied and pasted, or they think that the employers will not make a note of it. Okay, so try to have appropriate information only in your resume. Be very honest. Be very honest to your resume. Don't try to have have what do you say, exaggerated, or don't try to over impress your employer. Be what you are. That's it. Your resume, a simple resume, will be more appealing than a confusing one. Yeah, so these are the different steps in how do you build and win a resume. Okay, now let's review. We were reviewing Steve's resume here. Okay, to understand the structure and what goes into an effective resume. Yeah, so I was in fact showing that resume of Steve. Okay, if you see here, he has clearly mentioned everything here. Okay, it's very well highlighted. He has mentioned about the skills, the work experience. Look at the professional statement. Okay, his education he is highlighted. Achievements. Yes, if you have any achievements that you want to highlight, okay, so that can be highlighted too. Okay, so he is seeking a job in advertising or public relations sector. So that's why he has tailored his resume here in this fashion. Okay, so he's very clear with his goals. So that is what he has done. Okay, it is like a 1-page resume. So that 1-page resume is more than enough for him to impress his employer. Okay, yeah. Now, once we have reviewed his resume, okay, so this is about your resume. So when I'll be uploading this e-learning course, on your LMS as well. So you can always, review this one more time. So at the end of this, you will be able to get a knowledge check, wherein there will be 3 questions. This is different from the assessment. Assessment will be totally different. And this is again a knowledge check that comes in between. So here, so there are 3 different questions. As a job seekers, how many resumes you're supposed to have? Okay, 3, 2, okay, 1 tailored to each job you apply for, and 1 that fits, for all job purposes. Okay, so you can answer any question, like 1 tailored to each job you apply for, and this is different from your assessment. So drop the different elements in the sequential order to make it more structured. So what comes first? Structure. So just drag it like this. Okay, then comes your professional and summary statement here. Okay, yeah, so this is how you can take all this, and then professional summary statement will come here, your leadership activities again, okay, your skills, and then your work experience at the end. Yeah, and then just drag and drop. So once you finish off this exercise, okay, you will be getting this exercise, the score from here. Yeah, so this is about, you know, the resume writing. I will now move on to, you know, the essentials of interview. That is the second, you know, module that I want to highlight. So if you have any questions, we can take, you know, the questions at the end of the session. But, you know, I'll make sure that I answer the questions on resume writing as well. So you can, you know, post those questions as well. So this is about resume writing. So I hope that, you know, you have taken some key points here. Key elements is one, what are the different types of resume and what are the different steps involved in building a resume. Yeah, so these are the different elements of key of your resume writing. Okay, now once your resume is complete, okay, Shahinsha bhai, do you think we should take questions on resume writing now, because we are moving on to the second module? Shahinsha bhai, you there?
No, Assalamu alaikum,
He is
Saeed
not
bhai.
here right
Walaikum
now,
salam.
Saeed bhai.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think we should take few questions on resume writing now, because at the end we can take, you know, the essentials of interview two later, once those questions too.
Yes, if you want to do like that, I would request Humaira to take questions for the first session that we have completed, the resume writing.
Yeah. If there are any questions there, yes.
Yes, there are a few questions. I'll just read them out
Yeah.
one by one. Uh,
Okay.
so, at what order we write projects? Like I think the person wants to ask in which order do we need to write our projects in the resume?
Well, projects again, you know, that comes under the functional resume. So projects are basically, you know, you have to highlight, okay, your latest role. For example, you're a project engineer. So as a project engineer, so what are the projects you have executed? So highlight those courses first. Highlight, you know, those projects first. Okay, and then it should go again, you know, in a reverse chronological order. Okay, but if you feel that there is some very important project that you want to highlight, okay, that will fit the job you're applying for, you can highlight that first. Yeah, next question, please.
Please explain video, series, and important features of it.
Can you repeat that? Video series?
Yes, the person is asking about to explain the video series. Do we have
Okay,
video series?
I think that is that an LMS question, I believe. Video series. Okay, so
It's
No,
video
series,
CV.
it's CVs.
It's CV.
TV.
Achha, video CV, sorry. Okay, video CV. Yeah, video CV, I mean, intentionally, I haven't talked about video CV here. The only reason is video CV is kind of advanced, you know, version of projecting your CV. So video CV is again, you know, maybe I can have a separate session on that, but it basically talks about, you know, your presentation. That is, you are presenting yourself, you know, in a video, as simple as that. Okay, so in which you will highlight again about the job that you're applying for, and also you'll talk about yourself. Okay, so that is more important in a video CV. Okay, so you will more highlight about yourself than your works in your video CV. Again, at the end you will talk about, you know, what are the functional aspects of you know, your job skills. But more important is the reason why people want to have a video interview is maybe the job would require more of a communication skill. That is the reason, you know, that is why they would ask for a video CV, and you have to sell yourself in that video CV. Yeah, next question, please.
Hello, sir. Is it necessary to write our exam grades in resume writing? For example, GPA percentage of 10th, 12th, and graduation, and especially when the grades are not good?
Well, that's a very tricky question. Okay, whoever has asked this, it's a very tricky question, I would say, because you have to understand, you know, why grades are important. Okay, I'll give you an example so that you understand better. Say for example, okay, I placed, you know, I placed what do you say, a vacancy for a software developer. Okay, and the market is so huge that I got at least, you know, 500 resumes in my inbox. Okay, the competition is high. Okay, there are 500 resumes in my inbox, and all of them are pretty much, you know, 1 to 2 years of experience. Okay, as an employer, what appeals to me is that I should filter out. Okay, there has to be a filter criteria. Okay, so for me, the first filter criteria is a good CV. If I find a good CV, okay, that is my first filter criteria. I'm not, representing other employees here. And the second, filter criteria is the grades, the percentage. Okay, unfortunately, we don't have any other filter criteria for 1 to 2 years of experience. Okay, so that is where the grades come into picture. But having said that, grades and percentages are not a parameter for your interview. Are not a parameter for your interview. At least I don't consider, grades and percentage when I go for selections. Yeah, so they are required, I would say, but don't give too much of importance to that. Employers anyways won't give importance, to grades when they take interviews. Next question, please.
If it is possible, can we get some sample resume? It can help us edit and apply the points mentioned in the session accordingly.
Well, we do have a resume builder in our portal. Okay, but then it will take some time for us to open up. Okay, that resume builder is something you input your data in it, and there we will show 4 different resumes, and you as a learner or a user can select any one template, and then your resume can get printed. Okay, yes, we will work on that, and we'll try to enable it soon in these LMS. Yeah, so
Yes.
we'll take two last questions, and then I'll move on to the next module.
All right. So the person wants to ask the difference between CV and resume.
I expected this question. Okay, CV and resume. Well, curriculum vitae and resume more or less are, they have the same meaning. Okay, I would say, but resume is something like that should explain, okay, an extension of you. So that is basically an extension of you. Okay, who are you and what do you do? Curriculum vitae is basically about, it talks about your academics, it talks about your functional resume, your functional aspects. Okay, it talks literally about you. Curriculum vitae, okay, CV, or in resume you basically just talk about yourself and what do you do, basically, that's it. Okay, and yes, a detailed one would be a CV. Yeah, next question, please.
All right. What should I add in my CV as beginner? Like on what should I focus more? What should I add in my experience column where I don't have any?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, you don't have to talk about your work experience if you are a fresher, if you don't have any experience. Okay, you don't have to talk about it. Okay, you don't have experience, you don't have it. You don't need to lie as well. But when you talk about your, fresher experience, meaning when you're fresher CV, make sure you're highlighting any achievements that you have in your college, any achievements that you have in your training session. Okay, any achievements that you have while you are talking about what do you say, your coaching. When you were taking your coaching, you might have some achievements over there as well. Highlight that. And if you have any certifications attached, highlight that again. Okay, so that will give you more experience. But again, if you don't have experience, don't mention it, but please don't fake experience. If you fake experience, okay, not good for you and not good for the employer as well. Yeah, next question, please.
Will it be the last question, Saidbhai?
Yeah, if you can, because I'll go for the next.
Yes, we are running out of time then.
Yeah.
So the last question I'd like to take is how to fill years gap in CV, like unemployment for a particular particular period of time after passing out from college.
Yeah, that's a very common question again, wherein people have a gap of experience in between, and then when they want to reapply. So be honest, be very honest, and mention in your CV that there was a break due to any reason, due to your health reasons, due to domestic reasons, or okay, if you are smart enough, okay, you can just say that you wanted to upgrade yourself. That is the reason you have taken that break in between. Okay, employers like that idea as well. If you mention in your resume that there was a 2-year gap, okay, or 3-year gap, so that means that there was a reason behind it. If it is a domestic reason, mention it very clearly. There was a domestic reason. You don't need to elaborate. Okay, just mention that, you know, there was a reason, but if there was no health reason, if you were laid off, okay, or you know, you did not have a proper job in between, mention that you wanted to upgrade yourself, you wanted to learn more about certifications, and that is the reason you did not want to, you were not able to, you know, fill in that experience. Yeah. More questions, you know, we'll be taking, you know, at the end of the second module, because it's already 5:15 and we have like less than 30 minutes for us to take the next essentials of interview, which is very important. Now, once your resume is sent, okay, you might get a call if your resume is good, and if you feel that, if the employer feels that you're apt for this job, okay, you get a call from the interview. Now, we are going to talk about essentials of interview in this module. Okay, so in this essentials of interview, we will basically talk about, you know, before interview, during interview, and after the interview. These are the three different focus areas on which at least I'm going to focus in this webinar now. Okay. Now, succeeding in a job interview is very important. Okay, you all know why, you know, an interview is very important. Okay, but preparing ahead of interview will, you know, make the difference. Okay, don't just, you know, go for the interview without any preparation. Prepare well in advance, then only go for the interview. Okay. Now, in this, as I said, we will you know, discuss what are the key things that are involved. Now, I hope, you know, this is clear. So this is about the pre-interview. There are 5 steps involved in pre-interview, step 1 till step 5. Okay. Now, step 1, in this step 1, okay, so first thing is researching about the company and the job role. Why is this very important? Say, for example, you got an interview call from Google, company called as Google. Okay, when you go to the interview, make sure that you are browsing about the company website. Okay, you're browsing about them. You are understanding what are their products. You are understanding what are their latest events. Okay, and what is their core expertise area. Okay, so those questions you have to be prepared. You have to know those questions about the company website. Know well in advance about, you know, what is that company all about, who is calling you. Okay, have those you know, research done. Okay, and out of those research, you prepare few intelligent questions. Okay, you prepare those questions which are specific to the company and the role for which you are being interviewed for. Okay, so spend some time researching researching the company and the job profile. So this is step 1, research the company. Second one is know your resume. This is again, you know, I mentioned in my resume interview that know your resume. Be familiar with the resume. Okay, be familiar. As a fresher, you should know what is there in your CV. Okay, if you don't know what is there in your CV, then, you know, your employer might ask you any question from the CV. Okay, so in your CV, it should mention if you are talking about a technology. Okay, if you're talking about a technology, saying that, you know, you are good in Google AdWords. Okay, AdWords in Google. So you have mentioned that in the CV. But if the employer is asking, can you talk more about AdWords? Don't keep a blank face. Don't keep a poker face saying that, you know, what is that? I don't know. Okay, so those things have to be there in your resume. Employers are smart enough. Okay, they might actually ask you questions, you know, from your years of experience as well. Okay, when did you finish your graduation? Okay, and what was your percentage in your grad? You might have mentioned 75% in your CV, but it is actually, you know, 60 or 65 that you might not remember. So make sure that, you know, you remember, you are well versed with your CV. So that is the second step. Third is, you know, answering common interview questions. This is very important, you know, when it comes to, you know, what do you say, the practicing questions. Okay, so in this practicing of questions, okay, what are the different questions that, you know, come up? Like, for example, you might have questions such as, you know, how well do you know about yourself? Okay, okay, when questions come like that, okay, so you should be well prepared to answer those questions as well. That tell me about yourself. Okay, so that is one common question that is actually asked. Okay, so those questions, okay, you should make sure that you are well versed about. Okay, so let me open it one more time. Okay, yeah, so we were talking about the do's and the different elements. Okay, okay, these are the 5 different steps that we are talking about. Okay, practicing common questions. Okay, these questions, okay, you should be able to find out on Google as well. Okay, so which means that what are the different aspects of it. Okay, so that you have to understand it better, and about why are you applying for this job. So that's a very, very common question that you actually get. Okay, why are you applying for the job? So those questions. Yeah, so these are the different steps to ace your job interview. Preparing responses, this step is very important. Okay, you might not have researched your job, that is fine. Okay, that is more important. The more you practice these questions, okay, it will be very important. Okay, and you have to practice it in a different manner. You have to practice in front of a mirror, or do a mock interview with your friend or a family member. Ask them to ask questions. Okay, so that will give you more confidence as well. Okay, now the most important is being on time. Okay, sorry, attire, the dresses. Okay, this is again makes a lot of difference in the interview. Okay, you need not follow this. Okay, this is may or may not but this is a universally accepted thing, that what should men wear, what should women wear, and what you have to avoid wearing during an interview again. Okay, so for men, okay, for women, formals or business suit, and avoid wearing bright and shining colors. Okay, and men avoid wearing shorts and t-shirts and sneakers. Okay, so try to avoid this because these are distractors when it comes to your interview. Try to have as much as a professionalism in your interview as possible. Okay, and the last one is being on time. Okay, being on time is the best thing that can happen. Okay, but being late is always a bad start. Okay, so at least be there on the interview spot at least 15 minutes before your interview starts. Okay, you have proper Google Maps, anticipate the traffic jams. If your interview is in the mid of the day, you should know that there might be traffic jams. Okay, and anticipate that, and all those things you should make sure that you are well versed with. And then carry your resume. Okay, people come to me for interviews, they don't have the resume in their hand. Okay, they expect that they will just have a chat conversation and then they will go. Okay, so your resume is the second best friend that you can have during your interview. Okay, the first one is you yourself, second one is your resume. Okay, so always try to carry your resume along with you. Okay, so these are the 5 different steps. I'll repeat: research about the company, know your resume well, practice your common questions, your dress and accessories, and then being on time. So these are the 5 different steps for the pre-interview. Mind you, this is just pre-interview only. Okay, now I was talking about the common interview common questions. Okay, so I'm sure most of you might have come across these questions. Tell us about yourself. Why should we hire you? What are your greatest strengths? And what do you consider your weakness? Okay, are these not the common questions? Yes. Okay, don't get panicked with this. If you get a question on tell about yourself, okay, so people will definitely ask this question. Keep your answer very short and simple. Very short and simple, and don't go into your personal thing. Don't directly talk about your first sentence itself. Talk about, of course, if you give your name out, okay, and then don't mention about your personal stuff directly. Okay, so you have to, the first thing is who you are should be a short statement. Yes, I'm a software developer, and I'm passionate about coding. Okay, and I've done my masters, and my biggest strength is debugging, and my debugging skills can bring benefit to the company. Very simple, very straightforward, very short. It should just talk about why why your employer should think that you're right fit for this job. So tell me more about yourself. Should basically talk about your job role. Okay, don't go into personal. So tips, as I said, don't go into too much of personal details unless the recruiter is asking you, and it should not sound like it is rehearsed. Okay, it should not sound like it is a very rehearsed tell me about yourself. That also I've seen. They by heart tell me about yourself. They just change the name and then they repeat and then they go. No. Okay, these are the 5 different things that you need to frame in the statement. Now the second question is, why should we hire you? Again, why are the employers asking this question? That you have to understand. Okay, this is basically the employer would want to know from you, how would you benefit yourself to the company. So that is where, okay, you should understand why should we hire you is one question, okay, that will allow you to sell yourself. Okay, that will allow you to sell yourself. Okay, so your academic achievements and your problem solving methodologies and what value you can add to the company and position. This is where the first step of researching the company would come into picture. If you do some Google about research about the company, then you will understand that then you can include it in this question over here. Okay. Now let the recruiter know about it. Okay, so let the recruiter know that you have the ability to hit the ground running and also to learn quickly. Yeah, and then the next question is, what are your greatest strengths? But then here, basically, it should not be basically any specific strength. It should not be any random strength of yours. Try to link the strength of yours, okay, to the job position that you're applying for. Okay, so you should be smart enough for that. Okay, you should be smart enough to make sure that you are highlighting your strength to you're linking your strength to the job role. Okay, and yeah, what do you consider to be your weakness? This is again a very smart question that comes up. This is, the recruiter is not expecting you to be perfect, but the reason why this question is asked, you have to understand this, that you are not highlighting your weakness here. You're highlighting your awareness about your weakness. If I know my negativities, if I know my drawbacks, that means I know myself, right? So that is the reason why this question is being asked. So one of the best ways is to, saying that, you're working to improve. Example, in the last, you can say that I used to wait until the end to submit my academic projects, but now I'm working on it. So that's your weakness, that, you are very close to the deadlines. Okay, now I'm started working ahead. That means future, I might actually say that, I might work on this weakness and I'll be able to submit the project well in time. And never ever give the response, I don't know. People will laugh, people will, smile and then say, no, I don't have any weakness. Or I have a big weakness for chocolates. That is too personal. Okay, again, your strengths and weakness linked to your job role. Okay, and I tend to procrastinate. Okay, this is, too much of a personal weakness if you are highlighting. Never ever highlight your personal weakness or personal strength to the employer. Always link your job role, to your strength and weakness. I'm repeating this one more time because I've seen that people link their personal strength and weakness. Okay, so these are very common questions. So I've in fact shown you, okay, how to deal with it. Okay, now on the interview day, during the interview, okay, these are the 4 different steps. you have to create that first killer impression that to the employer that you have arrived there. Okay, why you have arrived there. Okay, whenever you come to the interview, show up on time. If your interview is at 9 a.m., okay, be there 8:45 itself, and try to mingle with try to be friendly with the people around. Okay, that could be the front office guys or receptionist, okay, or other people around, the office boys. Try to be friendly with them. So that way, you will get well acquainted with the job environment. Okay, and then be friendly. Watch your body language. Okay, don't be too enthusiastic and don't be too nervous. Okay, don't be too nervous. Okay, watch your body language. If you feel that you are too nervous, relax. If you feel that too enthusiastic, relax. Okay, so in those 15 minutes, okay, you should actually watch your body language and keep your mobile in silent mode. Okay, most of us have caller tunes or ringtones, very very typical and very very fancy ringtones. Okay, so during the interviews, okay, when such caller tunes or such ringtones, they come up. Okay, that is like a turn off again during the interview process. To keep your mobile in silent mode. Last is more important is stay relaxed. This is the killer of all. Okay, all the other things at one place, staying relaxed at one place. If you are relaxed in the interview, you are just making sure that you're controlling yourself. And yesterday, as Shasa was pointing out in his emotional intelligence seminar webinar, that staying relaxed, self-control is the best thing that you can actually have. So this will help you in your interview process. Yeah, and then meeting the interviewer now. Now you're relaxed and now you're in front of the interviewer. Okay. There are 2 tips that I want to give here. Figure out what your interviewer is looking out for and be positive. Okay. Now, these are the few different things in mind if you're meeting your interviewer. First thing is smile. There's a difference between smile and laugh. Okay, smile, just give a good smile, and then the moment you enter, don't laugh out loud and then crack a joke. He's not your friend right away. Okay, so you have to make sure that you're smiling, you smile and remain approachable even if you're nervous. Okay, just smile, and this will help in creating a rapport with the interviewer. Okay, and the second one is give a firm handshake. Okay, give a firm handshake. Okay, wait for the interviewer, but you don't directly go and initiate the handshake. Okay, most of the interviewers are they have their own shell, they are reserved, they might not want to give a handshake. But if they are coming forward and then initiating a handshake, okay, give a firm handshake. Okay, but now with this COVID-19, I would not avoid that, meaning I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, but still, if there is an initiation happening from the employer, go ahead for that. Okay, and don't squeeze too hard. Okay, so that's more important. And again, third one is maintain eye contact throughout the meeting, throughout the interview. Okay, maintain an eye contact which is very pleasant. Don't stare at the interviewer. Don't scare them. Okay, don't just stare at them. Have a very very friendly eye contact. Okay, and don't look here and there too often. When you look here and there too often, that is the biggest sign that you are not comfortable. Okay, be enthusiastic. Yes, be excited. That is more important. Okay, be enthusiastic. That means don't be over enthusiastic as well. Okay, but relax and then be excited about who you are. Listen well. Okay, this is a key element again. Listen carefully and what is the question. Okay, don't answer in the middle of the question itself. Let the interviewer finish off this question. Only then take a second or 2 and then only answer. Okay, and give honest answers. Don't try to beat around the bush. Okay, you will be easily caught. Okay, if you don't know anything, confess and then say, sorry, I'm not aware of that. Okay, so be very honest, but don't just beat around the bush. Okay, So that is the second element, meeting the interviewer. And then, maintaining a positive body language. So maintaining the positive body language. Yesterday, Shasa was talking about, the body language again. It speaks volumes. It shows who you are and what you are. So maintain eye contact, use hand gestures. Don't just, tie your hand like this and sit. Okay, hand gestures, like when you're explaining something. Okay, try to stress upon the point. If you are stressing upon a fact, so just stress upon the fact. Use hand gestures. Okay, but don't just stiff and just fold your hands and then sit like this. Relax, keep your back straight, smile, handshake, brief and grim. These are the do's, don'ts. Never sit down until you are asked. Okay. Yes, the interviewer might say, yes, please be seated. Then you can, relax and then sit down. Okay, don't fidget too much. Don't move around here. Okay, don't look around too much. As I said, avoid touching your face. Okay, people have a tendency that, they will just, they will touch your face. They will try to, wipe, their face. So just, avoid all those things. And don't play with your hair as well. Okay, so that shows you are not comfortable again. So these are the don'ts, do's and don'ts again. Now, answering questions. Now, because your question could be anything. Your question could be, technical or non-technical. So I'm not going into those details. But as I said here, the interviewer is looking for. You have to understand what is the interviewer looking for, and do not lie. Do not lie in your interview. Okay, be honest. That will pay off. Okay, that will pay off. So keep your answers truthful and to the point. Okay, and listen well. Okay, as what is the question being asked for? Use examples. Okay, yes. When a question is being asked, use examples in between. Okay, use examples in between, practical examples. So that way, your interviewer will get a feeling that yes, they have got some. You have got some practical experience as well. But in this process, do not oversell yourself. Okay, do not try to overconvince people. If a question is asked, take one question, talk about it in a line or two, then maybe give an example. That's it. Move on to the next question. You are done with it. Don't try to oversell yourself. Okay, and then project confidence. You need to constantly project high energy and enthusiasm. Do not show a dull moment any point of time. At any point of time, do not have a very, very dull moment in your interview. Always maintain a high enthusiasm and a constant energy. Okay, that constant energy should always be there. Now, one question what I often get from people that do we need to ask any questions? Yes, as long as the interview is a two-way conversation, that is a very, very intelligent interview. If you don't ask questions, in between, so that means, either the interview is going too pale or the interviewer is trying to dominate. Okay, so yes, there can be a two-way conversation. At the end, I will tell you, why it is important to ask questions. Okay, this ending the interview, closure is very important. Closure is very important. If 50% of your interview is about the interview, during the interview, 50% is about how you end it. That closure is very important. Okay, so there are two steps involved here. Always ask, what about the next step? Okay, always ask the interviewer, what is the next step? Okay, yes, once you give the interview, what is the next step in hiring process? And when can I expect to hear from you again? Okay, these are the kind of questions. So the interviewers will ask, do you have any questions? The first question, okay, the common answer that I get, 90% of the people who come for interviews, they give an answer, no sir, I'm done. Okay, no, that should not be the attitude. Please make sure that you're asking a question to the employer. Okay, you can ask about the hiring process. Okay, or you can say, when can I expect to hear from you again? Or, one question what I like, which is not there here, is that, people should ask, I did a research about your company, and I see that you are running an LMS platform. Okay, can you explain more about that? Okay, can you talk more about it? So those questions will definitely help. Okay, so those questions will create an enthusiasm in me as an employer, saying that, you have done enough research, and then you have come. Okay, so those kind of questions should always be there. So ending the interview is very important. The last is thanking the interviewer. Make sure you're thanking the interviewer for taking the time to meet. Okay, shake hands, and then lastly, reiterate your interest in the organization. That means, you are actually saying that, when can I join again, or I'm interested to join you. Okay, so those are few questions that you have to points you have to tell. Okay, when you are thanking the interviewer. Okay, so this is a small exercise when you actually take the interview, meaning this e-learning course. You will be able to do it on your own. Okay, so each choice will give you 10 questions here, so I will not go into I'll just show you how it needs to be done. Okay, so you will see that few things will tumble down. Okay, so make sure you just drag and drop them into the correct bucket. Okay, say for example, research the job profile, do or don't. Okay, so you'll have less time. Consider wearing t-shirt. Okay, so those kind of questions will come. Okay, be relaxed. Yes. Okay, take it inside and then put it. Fidget too much, don't. So just take those questions, and then you can just score the points here. These points will not be linked to the certificate, but this is only a fun activity. Okay, now once the job is done, okay, interview is done, follow up. Okay, follow up. Once you're back, within 24 hours, send a polite thank you note. Okay, send a polite thank you note to the interviewer. Okay, saying that, thank you so much for having me. Okay, it was a pleasure. Okay, I liked your office. Okay, and then I would be waiting for you for your, for your further feedback. One line that always impresses is, if there are any questions, if there are any further questions you would like to ask, if you want to know more about me, feel free to ask. Always ask this question in the thank you note as well. Okay, and wait for a few days. Okay, I've seen that people come for interview today in the morning. In the evening itself, they start calling or emailing, saying that, what happened? Is there any update? Is there any update? What is the status? So those questions will always be asked. So, in the interview, they would say, wait for a few days. We'll get back to you in 2 days. So wait till 2 days. Okay, that timeline has to be always be there. So given that timeline, okay, check if the timeline you have passed. Only then you have to ask questions and evaluate yourself. Evaluate yourself is, you should know basically that how you have fared the interview. Okay, it should not be like you think that you have done well, okay, but you have literally screwed the interview. Okay, so evaluate yourself and be confident about it. If you still don't get time, okay, give them a final call. Okay, within 2 days, if you don't get a call, yes, you can always call them. Okay, so this is, I showed about 3 different steps: pre-interview, post-interview, and then during interview. Okay, and then there's a small quiz at the end of it. So take this quiz. Okay, so for you to understand, okay, which of these is not one of the best steps. Okay, conduct a research salaries. Okay, some random questions. Okay, 3 or 4 questions will come. Which of these questions you should always try to do during an interview? Ask the interviewer questions, answer your cell phone. Do you think you should answer your cell phone? Be a few minutes late, smile and nod at everything that the interviewer says. Okay, interviewer is asking you, what is your biggest weakness? Which one of these is ideal answer? I don't have one. No. Chocolates? No. I can sometimes be disorganized. Yes, this is about your job, as I said. Link about it, and then you will be able to sell. Okay, so yes, so this is about it. Okay, I feel that, I hope that you had a good time about both the things, about resume writing plus essentials of interview as well. Okay, so the main intention of having this e-learning courses is we come from an employer background, and more often than not we have seen that it's very painful that people come for interview. They literally come for interview, but they are not prepared. Their CVs are not prepared. Okay, and their CVs are in such a pathetic condition, as I said, copy paste CVs. And when they send an email to the employers, okay, there is no proper cover letter. Okay, there is no proper cover letter in their email. Okay, they simply write attached in the email. Okay, check attachment, as if they are doing us a favor. Okay, and then the PDF that they send, it doesn't have the name of the student, also name of the person who is applying for the job. It would just have some sample document.pdf. That is very unprofessional. Okay, so please try to avoid all those small do's and don'ts that I have mentioned in the review. It's very simple. It's all about practicing. The more you practice, okay, giving interviews in front of the mirror or in front of your friends, the better for you. And then try to have ideal resumes, very, very ideal resumes. Okay, on LinkedIn you can find ideal resumes. Please, visit relevant job profiles of your domain, and then you will be able to download few resumes from there and prepare your resume accordingly. Okay, and then we will work from the AMP side of it as well. We'll try to have one session on how your resume should look like. Okay, so we will see what best can be done on that front. Okay, so these are like few do's and don'ts. We have 15 minutes. So now the forum is open for sessions, for questions. You can ask questions from resume building, and also questions from the essentials of interview. The chronological order would be, let's go with the questions from essentials of interview first. Yeah, Humaira, if you're there.
Yes, Saeed bhai, thank you so much. It was a wonderful session today, and I hope people will be benefited by it. So I'll start with the question and answer round. There is this question. It says, "Sir, I have a different name on the educational certificate, and I have a different name on the government document. What name can you use in resume? Star Gazette published a new name."
Well, at least I would say we don't have this NRC concept on our resumes, so don't worry about that. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Seriously, it doesn't matter. Okay, you can always mention that if there is a drastic change of name, if the name is totally different. Okay, you can mention that in the resume, that name on the certificate is so and so. That you can always mention. But if there is a spell change, if the name is here and there, if your name is Mohammed Abdul Saeed, and on the certificate if it is Abdul Saeed Mohammed, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Okay, if there is the spell mistake as well. Okay, if Ahmad is spelled as AHMAD instead of AHMED, okay, seriously, that will not matter a lot. Okay, but yes, if the name is totally changed, mention that on your resume, saying certificate name, okay, is this, and the government certificate name is this. One line is fine. Next question, please.
Which keywords words should be present to highlight the resume?
Well, your keywords should basically highlight about your job. Okay, for what job you're applying for. That's what I've showed in the key elements of job profile in the resume course, essentials of resume. So in that, if you are applying for a job, try to have the keywords around that. Okay, example again, if you are applying for a digital marketing role, okay, in your resume, try to highlight keywords like Google AdWords, okay, or digital marketing, Facebook marketing, okay, campaign ads. Okay, so when you talk about those ads, okay, of those keywords. So to answer your question in short, the keywords should be related to the job role you are applying for. Next question, please.
Okay. Is it better to position yourself as a generalist or a specialist on the resume?
Yeah, you mean to say journalist or generalist? What was the question?
Generalist.
Well, again, if you are sure that you are applying for a so-and-so job, okay, if the job position is, if the job profile is open, if if it's a very, very open job, then you can go for a general resume. But if it is a pinpointed, most of the cases it is, if it is a pinpointed job role, people are looking at a software developer job only in programming. Okay, just try to have, your keywords pointed out around, the software development only. I'll tell you the advantage behind it. The advantage is that when people read your resume, they know more about you. They know more about you within that one resume only. So for example, you might want to highlight keywords like, good at debugging, okay, good at debugging and good at, performing QA, okay, good at understanding the requirements. Okay, so that explains that you're working as a software developer, but these are your core strengths as well. Yeah, next question, please.
All right. So how to pace on salary question? Interviewer asks how much you want salary. What is the perfect answer for that?
Well, I'm on the other side of the interview right now. So, it is again like in a double-edged sword. One common answer, what we get to hear is, we want to earn as per the industry standards. Okay, three questions, three types of answers is what we see. One is they say that, it is basically industry standards. The other one would say whatever, fits in your company norms. The other one is whatever you feel convenient. Okay, so very, very smart answers that they come. But okay, if you want to position yourself, okay, you have to do a research about the job salaries much earlier. Okay, so you should know that you are expecting, say for example, you are expecting 7 lakhs per annum for this position. Okay, if the question comes, be very, very clear, be very, very clear, and then say that my expectation is 15% above, more on what exactly I am in fact getting right now. Okay, so my personal advice is don't directly talk numbers in your first interview itself, but give them an expectation saying 20% more than what I'm earning right now. So that explains. Okay, try to avoid answers like as per the industry standards or whatever you feel convenient. So that is the worst answer that I would want to hear. Okay, yeah, next question please.
How can we make resume compliance as per ATS, application tracking system?
That's again an advanced question, I would say. For these type of questions, okay, meaning for these type of ATS resumes, normally there are standards and templates. Okay, so it is important that we stick to those templates and their standards only, and don't try to experiment too much with that. Okay, so maybe that way you should be able to comply with their standards only. So try to stick to whatever be the standards, and get to know the standards first. That is more important. Unless those standards are clear to you, okay, so don't try to experiment too much with that. Yeah, next question please.
Yes, few females, they are asking if they initiate handshake and we are not comfortable with it. There is this Islamic region to it. Then how to manage? And
Absolutely,
how?
absolutely. Okay, so that is seriously, there is no reason, that a handshake should be reciprocated. I wouldn't, agree with that as well. Okay, but I gave you a very generic example there. But okay, if in your scenario, if a handshake is initiated by the interviewer, okay, you can politely say that thank you very much. Okay, and then you can keep your hands back. Okay, so there is no compulsion, and I would say there is no need at all. There is no need at all for the what do you say, the handshake to be reciprocated. Okay, Next question, please.
How to answer the interviewer is if they ask, where do you see yourself in the next few years? Let's say 5 years.
Yeah, okay. If you come across a question like that, wherein people would ask, where do you see yourself? First of all, we need to understand why is that question being asked for? Okay, why is that question being asked? The reason why they ask is they want to know how serious you are with this job role that you're applying for. Okay, see, even I ask that question. Okay, when people come to me, I ask that question. So they come for a software developer, for example, but they say, when I ask the question, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? They answer like, I want to see myself in the US doing MSc in US. Okay, so that is what they say. Though it sounds to be a bit funny, but for me, I'm clear that this guy is not going to stay with me for too long. Okay, within the next 2 or 3 years, he's going to go away. But as an employer, I would want to have my employees, staying with me for too long. Okay, so that is the reason why this question is being asked. So you have to understand why is this question being asked. So you have to answer in a manner that you have to stick to. Don't talk too much about the company. Okay, don't talk too much about the company in that question. Talk about your job role, saying that I want to see myself enhancing my skills in the field of development. I want to see earning more certifications. I want to see getting more grades, okay, in my digital marketing concept. So try to answer based on your job role only, but don't overboard yourself and say, I love your company, I want to be in your company for 5 years. That is like too much of an answer. Yeah, next question, please.
All right. If our academic credentials are different from our professional experience, then how should we define our personal statement?
Well, okay, so you have to strike a balance. Okay, you have to always strike a balance. Say, for example, you have done your let's say BTech. Okay, you have done your BTech engineering. Okay, but now you are doing something in the field of medicine. Okay, it could be possible. Okay, so in that case, in your personal statement, okay, you can be very smart enough and then convey that what do you say, an engineer by academician, but what do you say, something medico, by profession. Okay, so that is enough for me to understand that in the academics you have done your BTech, but in your profession right now you are into medical field. So try to strike a balance and then just mention a line or a word or two. That's it, saying that you have your academic and your professional work experience is totally different. Yeah, next question, please.
Can we mention the competitions we won in our resume, like any debate, group discussion, etc.?
Yes, if you are a fresher, yes, please do that. Please mention that. Okay, and then in that as well, don't just mention participated in the competition. I in fact see people mentioning that. I in fact see people writing it. They see that participated in the college fest debate. Try to elaborate further and write what was the topic about, what was your role, okay, and if the topic is relevant to the job you're applying for, fair enough, very nice. Even if it is not, mention that I participated in a job debate on women's safety awareness, okay, or I participated in a debate on say social media pros and cons. And if you're applying for a digital media course, okay, this would come handy for me. Yes, you can mention. Feel free to talk about it. Yeah, next.
Yes. Why we left previous company? What should be the best answer to reply to this question?
Yes, okay. When you leave your previous company, okay, and never ever, listen and understand very carefully, never ever talk bad about the company, about your previous company. Okay, in front of your employer, never ever talk bad about the previous company. Though you might have left the company because of bad reasons and they might be responsible, but always never talk bad about the people out there, never talk bad about, the company. Always mention that, I had some differences, okay? I had some creative differences with them, okay? And I see that my growth was stagnant. That is the reason I stopped. But don't say that, no, they were forcing me to do this, okay? No, they were asking me to work for longer hours, okay? Or, they were torturing me. No, they don't do this, because these scenarios might come in this company as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. Yeah, next question, please.
Yes. Which resume format is best to use? Chronological, functional, mixed, or CV?
Well, as I said, it depends. Okay, it depends on what kind of a job you're applying for. Okay, it could be that you might actually have you might in fact you're applying for your 5 years of experience guy, okay, and now you're applying for very high position. Go for functional resume in that case. Okay, functional resume. So functional resume should talk more about if you have a lot of experience in it. Otherwise, go for chronological if you are 1 to 2 years of experience. There is no hard and fast rule. Yes, if the employers are asking for a functional resume, submit a functional resume there. Yeah, next question, please.
Okay. When will the job selector feel that the resume is exaggerated?
What is that, please? When
When
will a job selector?
Yes,
Okay,
the employer feel that the
yeah,
resume is exaggerated.
yeah. To everyone, okay, let me just tell you, for an interviewer, for somebody who's taking the interview, it will take 6 seconds to figure out, on an average, whether you're real or fake. 6 seconds. Okay. And how is that done? That is done based on a lot of factors. Okay. The way you express yourself. Okay. The way you talk. Okay. The way you lie. Okay. I might ask a question on technology, and if you keep a face as if you're hearing it for the first time, for me that is enough that your resume is exaggerated. Or okay, and if I ask, where did you work last? How many years you worked last? Okay, in the previous company, you might have actually worked for 2 years, but in your resume you will actually mention it as 3 years. Okay, when you say 2 years, for me it is enough that you have exaggerated. So you yourself will convey in front of me whether your resume is exaggerated or not. I don't need to do anything special for that. Yeah, next question.
Okay. Can we mention online courses or certificates details on resume, such as I completed a diploma in operation management from Allison. Duration of course was 5 hours. Kindly guide.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, you can. Okay. And in fact, okay, online courses, if you take, so that means, that shows how interested you are. Okay. That shows how much of, what do you say, how much of, enthusiastic you are when it comes to course upgrade and when it comes to your skill development. Okay. So yes, always, it would be like an advantage for you if you mention about online courses that you've completed in your resume. You've taken time to complete that, remember, and highlight that. Yes, feel proud in that, and then talk more about it, which university it is, okay, and what was the mode, meaning it was a free or a paid course, and what was the duration of that course, and also talk about how long that validity of the course is, and who is the course provider around it. Yeah, next question, please.
Okay. If interviewer raise questions on your beard, then how to handle that?
On your
Beard.
okay, on your beard. Okay, yes. Don't feel bad about it. Feel proud. Okay, feel proud. Okay, not just beard. Okay, if they actually talk about any aspect of yours, okay, either your physical experience or about one of your characters, okay, like they might say that your voice is too low, okay, you have got a feministic voice, or you have got a beard, okay, feel proud about it. Feel proud and say on the face of the employer, this is me, okay, this is me, and I'm not going to change myself for that. Okay, I'm not going to change myself for that. The reason why they do is they want to lower your confidence and check, okay, how do you perform in that when you are underconfident. So that is the reason actually, they talk about uncomfortable questions. Whenever any uncomfortable question is posed on you, first thing is relax and feel proud about it. Okay, and then don't give up, and then say, yes, I'm proud about it, and then I really want to go ahead with this. This is me, and this is how it is going to be in future also. Next question, please.
Yes. If you have done some courses and you are good at that software, then is it okay to write expert at this and this?
Yes. Okay. Beginners, intermediate and advanced. These are the three different levels. Okay, of any course. Yes, if you are well equipped, if you are very confident about a course or a technology or a subject, mention expert out there. Yes. Okay, you can do that, but don't mention if you're a beginner. Leave it. That is understood. But if you are an expert, mention you are an expert. That will be like a 5-star. Okay. If I see that word expert, yes, I know that there is an expert sitting in front of me. Okay. But if you're a beginner on that, don't mention beginner. That's very well understood that you are not an expert. Yeah. Next question, please.
All right. So it will be our last question of the day. The questions remain unanswered will be sent over the mail. The question is, who can I get to review my resume for errors before I start sending to the employees?
Well, as I said, if you have a mentor around, good. Okay, you can do that. But as I mentioned in the webinar today, so basically what you can do is you can refer to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best tool to view, best profiles. Okay, go to LinkedIn and try to take out resumes which match your skills. Okay, for example, if you are a 2+ years, digital marketing guy, take out the resumes from LinkedIn and then try to compare your resume with theirs. Okay, so there you will be able to, measure your interview skills, your skills of resume. Okay, but if you have a mentor around, fair enough, do that. Okay, always do. But proofreading is what you should always do. Okay, yeah, I think this is it, and I see there are still a lot of questions. Okay, and are we done with the questions, Sumira?
Yes, Saeed bhai, we are done for the question and answer round today. Remaining questions which are unanswered, we will try to send the answers on the email. And I would like to request to Mr. Shehzad Mukaddam to take over from here.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
thank you so much,
Shehzad bhai, prior to
Shehzad
that,
bhai.
I just wanted to add here that these 2 e-learning courses will be available in the LMS. Okay, tomorrow, and an assessment will also be there. So you can, for those of you who have enrolled, okay, just you can access this course. If you have not signed up, you can sign up and then you can access this course. And thank you everyone for joining. Okay, from my end. Okay, it was wonderful having you all here. And yes, Shehzad bhai, all yours now.
Thank you so much, Saeed bhai. It was really an awesome and amazing session that you took. It was very valuable as well, and I personally felt like it was a need of a time, and it really helped me as well. So after listening to your lecture, one thing that I came to know is Mahi CV Alhamdulillah is sorted.
Good to know. Okay.
So it was really an honor and pleasure to have you with us, Saeed bhai. And
the pleasure is mine. Yeah.
We really appreciate your support and your valuable time. So inshallah, we'll see you again tomorrow. And all the participants, it was fantastic to have you all on board. Keep coming for these sessions, and it will really benefit you for your future and your career as well. And thank you for being part of this AMP Employability and Soft Skill program. We will inshallah see you all tomorrow. Also ask your friends and family members to join these sessions and benefit by improving their skills. Thank you so much. This is Shehzad signing off from here. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.